Okay, SENSU moodboard. That's the second part of our moodboard series here. Again, we start with an empty desktop here, and I prepared two boards down here. So again, to tell you what this is down here, this is the selection board. This is where I can place folders, and these folders are. Let me just make this a little bit. The sound is just the background here. These folders down here, I can place them, I can arrange them, and for example like that, I drag them here. There's a reason why we allow for multiple rows here. It's just what me as a creative person, I'd love to see everything at once. So it's just my thing. I hate it when I have to go into a list, so we allow you to add as many of those things as possible, or as possibly possible, so to speak. And there's no limit. You can actually pile it up all the way. It's like you put a lot of magazines on your desktop. There's really no saying like, hey, this is too much. I mean, it's your choice. Like, it's not that the system does that. You do that by yourself. So as maybe iterated before, you can increase the size of this. And you see something, you know, like these items have different sizes. They're not all the same. So this is what we call the snippet view, which becomes especially apparent when you are dealing with articles. With pictures, it's not so much apparent what is the case, but let's, for example, go to, here I bookmarked some hotels before, and they have text elements and they have picture elements. So what happens is when I scale this here, this scales too, but it scales disproportionately. I think like it's a 0.6 that we defined for this here. This allows you to look at small snippets like this, and also really big. It scales automatically. So right now we have a dialog down here, which of course we will change. It's just a dummy place to put it. Here can change to picture mode, which is then just the visual. You take the first visual and any snippet. Here we have again I think the display block. Yeah, here, right. If this happens to you ever, if you don't see this, just resize a little bit, and I should fix it. We're looking for the reason. It's hard for us to reproduce it right now. If I go back here, I have the snippet mode. And just to prove the point, if I take one of these items, put them on a board, you see here, here's the snippet. And, oh, okay. And I can't put it back, or can I? Oh well, it seems to be a little bug too. So if I now go into the picture mode here and drag this, and something funny happens, it becomes a snippet anyhow, because like on a mood board, this is all a snippet. We can define how to display it. So these are intricate details. So one of the reasons we have this display bar down there is it's a perfect way to kind of have like a palette of things that you can place on the mood board, or that you can place anywhere for that matter. It's like you have this hand of powerful tools that you can switch easily between, and you can drag it someplace else. And so I prepared now here two mood boards. Let me just drag them. You can take one of these things and just, as you can see, I take it out here and I drag it and I drop it, and then suddenly have a folder here. So let's turn this folder here in display menu. Let's go to mood board. As you could see, I defined this mood board to have this background. The background resizes when I resize this. This allows me to define how big I want to see that. And now let's take the next one. I think take this one here. And here I have another mood board. This mood board I defined a transparent background, which is kind of cool if you think about it. As you can see, I can put this over anything. The folders are completely flexible. There's no rules how the folders can look like. I can make it look like a piece of paper, or I can make them look like something transparent like glass. I can make them completely solid. I can change the fonts at some point. Right now users can't do that, but we have the capability already built into the system. Just to show you what that means, if I click on this part here, like maximize window, it becomes kind of full screen, and in that moment you always see the library here. Let me just collapse this here to have a little bit more space. Looks kind of cool, but it's also kind of confusing because you now have a transparent background and you see everything behind it, but like, that's your choice, right? You can choose how chaotic you want to work. And it's kind of cool because it looks like I'm working on glass and behind me is my other like workplace. So now I this symbol actually changes, as you can see here. When I go to this, like this is now minimize window. When I click on it, it becomes this symbol for maximizing the window, and I can go back. What I also can do is, if I go on SENSU here, I collapse the whole thing. It doesn't only put in the sidebar. If I have a window open and attached to it, we call it full screen mode, it actually closes both. In the moment I detach it, the sidebar disappears and then it looks like this. Kind of makes sense. Like, not sure if you want to keep it like that, but I think for now it's pretty cool. So now that we have these items here and we move them between the mood boards here. So what happens now is it rearranges them. Well, it actually shouldn't do that. The way we want to do it, when you drag between mood boards, the position should actually be kept intact. So we're going to fix that. And I think with a keyboard combination, you can then actually choose to not do that. Here again, we rearrange things. You remember this really ugly icons here? I think like I made them over a year ago. Should be shot for that publicly. And now let's do this. Now, for example, here we have this Blade Runner folder here, which is also this board. And just to show you that this is really the board. In the moment when I drag this here, down here it displays the contents of the board in the mosaic view and picture view. If we go here to the mosaic, we see this. Again, if I drag something in here and let's say I go back to the mood board, then you can see the only item visible right now is again this one, and I mentioned that before. If you don't place something on the mood board, it appears in here. So it's kind of like on the outskirts of your mood board. Unless you place it, you need another piece of information from the mood board. So where did you place it? And in a moment it's here. Of course the content is available again here if you go to the mosaic or to the grid. So the whole principle of SENSU is like you have containers of content, you have folders, and you can display folders in different ways. It's beautiful when you display a mood board in full screen in that case, and you just have here your folder structure, and then you can choose items here. One of the ways to do that, if you want to work on that mood board, is you just take an item that you want to have. Let's, for example, go here and let's go to tribes. Drag this folder down here. And now it's down here. And now I can access it here without having to close the window. And here now I have all the pictures. Let's make this a little bit bigger. I really want to select what I want to have. Now I'll show you how this is just how I would do it. You know, like it's a pretty flexible system, so everybody finds their own way how to deal with content. It's the same way that you arrange things differently on the desk. The way I would do it, if I select content now, I would go into this, in full screen, and I select the most beautiful pieces that I want to have on this board, like this. And now, because I selected them, they appear here in the selection bar. So now here I find everything that I selected before. I can get rid of stuff that I don't need here. And now I confirm these are nice. Like I make them a little bit smaller. And now I do something different. I go down here to copy mode. This is right now not clearly visible. I think you should change the color. This will all be changed. But now if I drag something from here to the mood board, it's not actually taken from those folders. If I go back to the tribes in this case, where do I have the tribes? Tribes. It's right here. Everything is still here, but it was copied. I can do the same thing now, for example, from here. Now drag the whole selection. If I take this and put it here, it stays in that folder, so I can kind of paint with this content. It should only work between folders, but actually right now it's still set like this. You know, when I move this around, it actually copies the item over and over again, unless I go out of copy mode. Shouldn't be like that. It's a mistake. Let me just select those. By the way, easiest way to delete something, just delete it. You know, like you don't need to go down here and press delete. It's an awkward position. That button will change that anyhow. You can just delete things. Just click on and delete. So another thing is that I can't simulate right now because I'm holding the camera. Well, I can try. If you press space here and you go down with 2 fingers here, then you can zoom this. Well, I show that another time maybe. Right now it's a little bit complicated. Another way to work on the mood board is that I split the screen. So if you go here to the display menu, you can split a window horizontally or split it vertically. In this case, I split it vertically. First of all, what it does, it copies the window. I can change this the size of these two windows here. Now oops, I did something wrong here. Here, if I select these windows, we see a little bit yellowish line here. I think it's a bad design. We will add a green dot or something that says like this is the active content, and now I can, when I for example go on this, now this is active, I can change that. I for example can go in here. Here we see again the orange board is showing me there's something new in here. So somebody placed something here. I don't have to keep that. If I click on these orange places, then that notification disappears. You have to be careful here. If you click on that notification, then behind it appears this delete button. We definitely want to change that, because sometimes you accidentally delete a folder, and right now we have an undo system in place, but it's not that sophisticated, so I recommend not to use it. Here we have the structure now, for example, folders here. Let's now go to, I double click on this, now I'm in this folder here. In this case, I have some pictures here in grid mode. Again, show the difference between mosaic mode. But we can scale down here, right? So it's not that smooth yet, how this works. I would like to have this smoother actually. And it's also not adapted to the frame, so like this zoom system, it's all messed up still, but like we gotta change that. So I like, actually for pictures I like to use the grid. And as we can see now, there's no zoom here. The reason is we're in manual mode. We can switch that off down here in the menu. It shouldn't be here, like we will change the whole settings menu. It's a legacy from way back. So now I can do this, and it rearranges the items with an algorithm and by the size. So what I can do now is I actually like it a little bit smaller. So this animation is definitely not the way it should be, but for now it's okay. And now again I go into copy mode. What I can do now is I can just paint with these pictures basically and put them here. And yeah, that's the way it works. Oh, this is a bug that when I delete something or move something inside, it goes off the copy mode, so take care of that. It's also not really apparent. Yeah, I'm a copy mode and move mode. We have to change that. So let's take a step back and look at this board, and now we do something beautiful. We go to folder down here with this awkward button that has the font in all the wrong places. And we're gonna share this in an open shared link. I'm gonna show you how to do that momentarily, because here we see the problem when we don't have the over region scaling in place yet. 47 changes to sync. So like what SENSU actually does now, it has a queue over, I guess, Ireland going back to Japan, and it syncs all those changes. So like they're recorded in here and they don't sync that fast, so we just have to wait for it and continue in the next video. So as for now, let's just close this a little bit to show, like here, this split structure actually stays intact when you detach that. So there's a lot of stuff you can do already. It's not perfect. It's definitely not the way it should be in the end, but we tried to create a powerful tool here that allows you to do almost anything. And yeah, you start somewhere. So this is what our alpha version looks like for now. So thanks for watching, and I'm looking forward to the next video where we start with again with the same mood board, and this time we publish it and show how we can create share links with that.